a sacred place for women where restoration meets ambition. We're diving into unspeakable stories of healing, strategies, and soul work. How can we hustle if our hearts aren't whole? Let's go, girls.
Welcome to Heal, Hustle, Repeat, a podcast where women come together to share their powerful stories, specifically around domestic violence. Today, joining us, we have a very special woman named Tanya Harris. Thank you for joining us today, Tanya.
Hi, thank you so much, Canna, for inviting me. It's the pleasure is all mine.
And for those of you guys who are not familiar with Tanya, so she is an award-winning author and bookseller. So, Tanya, I want to talk about your book today, but why don't you share with us what award you are going for this year?
So this year, I am going for International Impact Book Awards Author of the Year Award. My book has, as you can see in the background, that my book did win the International Impact Book Awards. And so I'm just so excited. And so I am a finalist. So I will be going to Hollywood on October the 10th.
Woohoo! So when you go to Hollywood in October, what happens there?
Well, that is see if your vote will have me to bring home that Author of the Year award.
Oh, come on. All right. So for
yeah.
everyone listening, if you haven't voted, vote, but watch this whole episode and you're definitely going to want to keep voting, okay? Because you deserve this. And
thank
we're
you.
about to share why, because your book, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And in it, it's really a cross-genre piece of work. As a memoir, you're bringing awareness to domestic violence. You weave in healing and creativity with music and definitely the spiritual aspect to help women navigate that question. Should I stay or should I go? And I think we often wrestle with that question for years before making a decision. So can you just kind of take us through your story a little bit with domestic violence and what that looked like for you?
Well, it was surprisingly, I didn't even realize that I was actually in a domestic violence marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I was married for 20 years.
Wow.
And for 20 years, I contemplated and worried about, and there was several times that I did end up leaving
Mm-hmm.
and would come back.
Yeah.
So it's that something isn't right, but then you kind of weigh it out and to see, is it worth it? Is it
Mm-hmm.
worth leaving? Is it worth staying? And so that was one of those, and it came to a point to where I was like, okay, Lord, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Either you gonna fix them,
Yeah.
or you gonna give me some answers, because I was, as a they said that when a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was. I was at it. I don't know if I should stay in this marriage, because I knew that it wasn't, at the time, at the beginning, it wasn't physical, but it was that mental, that, financial abuse, that, that made you feel as if something just isn't right. And I know that God had something far more better than me. So I needed to know, like, Lord, am I going to stay in this, or am I going to go?
Right.
And boy, did God show me and tell me and gave me that answer.
Ooh, okay. Can you give us all the juicy details on what that looks like? Because now I have way more questions. Like, what happened?
So it's one of those things where when you're in an abusive relationship, and especially when you go back,
Yeah.
that abuser ends up, when you do go back, there's a bit of part of you that continues to break down and you
Right.
lose part of you.
Mhm.
And that's what I was. I kept going back after I said, I'm done. But then I noticed that the abuse ended up getting worse.
Oh.
And every time that it continued and I went back, it was like giving them validation to continue
Mhm.
to abuse me.
Yes.
And it was at a point to where it had became physical.
Mhm.
It was to a point to where all of my things was taken away from me.
Mm.
My purse, my belongings, my
Oh,
keys,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
to tear up my door, and to where having to literally, I had written this book
Mhm.
and I had to reach out, and I was just to sign for the publishing to have the book um started with the publishing company,
Mhm.
and it happened on a Sunday, to where he just lost it, to where I'm
Um,
running, I'm bruised up, I'm trying to
yes.
protect myself and trying to protect my son.
Mhm.
And it's like, what happened? And
Yeah.
that's when the Lord showed me is that you are not to go back.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
believe that by me writing this book and
Mhm.
giving these details of the abuse of
Yeah.
over the many years, I didn't realize it and see until I started
Yeah.
reading about what is
Mhm.
a narcissist and I was like, "Well, okay, well, he's checking off all of these boxes." Like,
Right.
I was in
Right.
total, like, I did not know, but then I started educating myself and understanding what it was. And that's when I realized, and it was like, Tanya, the reason why you write a book is because it's
Mhm.
not just for your healing, but it's
Mhm.
also that gives you that confidence so you don't go back. Now you got that accountability,
That's it.
that people watching, people seeing, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
you cannot go back. And that's what God does. That's what He says, that we overcome by our testimony,
Yes.
because that's how we're
Mm.
able to tell people of how God brought me out. And if He
Yeah.
can bring me out, He can bring you out as well.
Oh. Oh my goodness. I just relate to so much of what you said and how many
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of other women do too, because you said
Yes.
something so key. When we're in it, that's the reality we've been living for the last 10, 15, 20 years. So
Yes.
our brains don't even know anything different. But once we start, the blinders start coming off and we're like, wait a minute. And you
Mm-hmm.
start hearing other women's testimonies like yourself. And then
Yes.
we do the research. We're able to, I think, look at our lives objectively. And then we look back on all those years and we're like, what just happened? What was that? And that's
Yes.
when, once we start getting open and sharing, and I can relate to that too, it's a very bold move to share those intimate details about your life publicly.
Yes.
It's a very bold move, and I think it does take faith, a lot of God-given faith to
Yes.
say, "Okay, I'm doing this, and there's no going back now."
Yes. Because you're not going to, it's not just for the public, but it's
Mhm.
also your family and his family.
Right.
And when you're
Yeah.
quiet and
Mhm.
you don't say anything, everybody thinks that everything is great. And
Mhm.
that's one of their gifts that they have, is that,
Mhm.
oh, they can make it look so good out in the public.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
can
yeah.
make they look like, and so when you do say something, it's
Mhm.
like, no, we not believing you,
Right.
because they've made this
Mhm.
image. And we, um, as Christian women, we actually look into protecting them. It's
Exactly.
amazing how we want to protect their image and we
Yep.
want to protect, our marriage and, we don't want whatever. And that's one of the things that they say too. They say, don't tell my business.
Yep.
What goes on in my house stays in my house. And it's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I remember one time, it's so crazy you say this. And the reason I just want to share this too is again, for every woman listening. And, I remember one time, and that was the hard part. You just want to stay in your role as a Christian wife. And it's a hard battle, but it's like, wait a minute, I'm also called to not sin. So if you, dear husband, are leading me to sin, I will not submit to you. And it took me years to get to that point where I said, absolutely not. No longer, because then I made him an idol over God. Because now I'm
That's
bound
it.
down to him and I have to do everything he says in the way he wants at his beck and call. And if I get
Yes.
open, but I remember he told me I could never call the cops. Like, you don't do that. And I remember it was, you're breaking code, Kiana. We're both mixed, right? And
Yes.
we're both mixed. My mom's
Yeah,
white and my dad's black, but for him, his mom is black and his dad's white. So
Oh,
depending,
wow.
but who you're raised with, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It kind of,
Yes.
it shapes how we are. And so for me, it was such a big thing when he was like, Kiana, you're breaking code. You don't do that. You don't do that. And then he was like challenging my identity as a woman, a mixed race woman. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I felt like every part of me was being stripped down and broken down. And I just wanted to protect myself and my children. And it's
Yes.
like, what do I do? So let me ask you, when you wrote this book, so you started writing it after you were out, or was this idea in your head while you guys were still married, but it was towards the end of the marriage? What was the timeline on that?
So, God had given me a dream, and this was after the one of those that the Lord says, and it was a song. It was
Mm-hmm.
a song that came to my head, and to it said, keep fighting until the victory is won.
Mm,
And so I felt that keep fighting for my marriage. Keep
right.
going,
Yeah.
read the Powerful Praying Wife, read the Save Your Marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
so I even reached out to him when we were separated and I said, I just
Yeah.
believe that the Lord has us to where I'm going to write a book and we're going to help couples and we're going
Yeah.
to, do this.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing how I was, every time I noticed, every time that we would have problems, he
Mm-hmm.
would say, I guess that's not God for you to write a book. I get, he was always negative. He was
Mm-hmm.
never positive towards me writing a book. I mean, I remember saying, because my mother is an author and,
Yeah.
and again, my, parents are both ministers. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a PK kid. So
Right.
so
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the
Yeah.
church. And
Mm-hmm.
so by me having parent a two-parent home
Mm-hmm.
that I was raised with my mother and my father both in the home where
Yeah.
he was just raised in a abusive, separated, household.
Yeah.
And so that's a really big part when people live their
Mm-hmm.
lives in
Yeah.
pain
Yep.
and then they reflect and they put that on the ones that love them, that was
Yeah.
there for them. Like I was at a point when that day that he came after me and tore up my property and my doors and I had to change my locks and everything. It had
Mm,
got to a point to where I let him know and I asked him and I said, do you realize that the devil is using you? Like, do you not see
yeah.
it? And
Yeah.
if you're a godly man, why aren't you seeking God
Yep.
for your, and then that's when the Lord showed me that that's not your husband.
Mm,
That's not who I have for you.
yeah.
And And from that, when I realized that, when the Bible said that he will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding, oh
Mhm.
man, I tell you, when he actually, I was writing the book and
Yeah.
he sends me a song that says, "The party is over." I was like, Lord, you just,
Yay.
I even put it in my book. I was like, he don't even know. He just helped me out.
Yeah. Write this down. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness.
I used
Isn't
that
that a
song.
trip?
I used that song in my book. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, thank you.
Yep.
Because that again, it was like you still want to stick with that Bible where it says that the man has to divorce. The man has, if he goes out, if he
Yeah.
goes and be with somebody else. Like I
Yeah.
was still in that mindset of,
Yeah.
okay, you got to do it. Like he has to be the one. He has to be the one to file for divorce. He has
Yeah.
to, and so, and I
Yeah.
was like, if he does it, if he says it, then it's good. Like,
Right. I think so many women get caught up in that decision specifically, and I was too, and it was so sad because we both knew we wanted to get, well, we didn't want to get divorced. No one wants to. But once we
right.
got to that point, after we had been separated and lived in different states, gotten back together to try one more time, like, what do we do? He
Mm-hmm.
refused to file. And he specifically said, I
Yes.
don't want this blood on my hands. And once he said that, Tanya, I go, all right, now I'm going to have to wrestle with God, me and God. I'm going to have
Mm-hmm.
to really wrestle this one out. And I
Yes.
and I I was like, okay, do I have grounds for divorce? Do we biblically have grounds? And what are those grounds for divorce? And if you don't mind sharing, how did you come to terms with that? You and God, you guys are here having these conversations, but how did you come
Yes.
to terms with, okay, I can do this. I can file and I will file.
It had come to a point to where, like I said, I was writing my book,
Yeah.
and it was during the pain
Mhm.
that, I realized and I seen my purpose. See,
Yeah.
a lot of times we go through things and it's not for us.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
way
Yep.
Job went through so much,
Mhm.
and it's not it, and it wasn't just for him, but it's
Mm.
for all of us to see that when we go through things in life, there is nothing new under the sun.
That's
There is
right.
nothing that God has not already given us the path. And
Yeah.
so when we trust
Mm.
in God and knowing that, my favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know
Yes.
the plans I have for you, says the Lord, and it's not to harm you. And so when I read that part, where it's not
Mhm.
to harm you, it's going
Yeah.
to be some painful things,
Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's going to get to a point to where it's going to work out for your good.
It's for your good.
What the
That's right.
enemy meant for evil, God would turn it around for your good. That
Yeah.
guilt that they put you in
Yeah.
of you're ruining a marriage, and that's the first thing they want to tell the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Look at your mother. She's the one that's foul. She's the one that's ruining
Yes.
the house.
Yeah.
She's the one that wants a divorce. I don't want the divorce, but yet and still they're treating you like crap.
Mhm. But
And
they don't want the kids to see or know about that part.
no,
But they just, even though they
no,
do, sometimes it's exposed, but it's a lose-lose for us. At some point, I remember thinking like, this isn't going to change. He's not going to change. We've done everything we can do and more as individuals, and he's not going
yes,
to change. How
right,
can I raise my children and subject them to this home environment? This is not right.
right,
Period. And I was really struggling in my faith at that time, really struggling with it. And I go, this is not right. And
right,
you're so key with what you just said. We're always the bad guy. It's always our fault.
yes,
Even when
hmm,
we're over here taking full responsibility, I think for the things maybe we could have said something better, taken a different approach. We're all human. But at the end of the day, looking back, I'm like,
yes,
you did some major damage there, and I'm not gonna water that down anymore. You did some
right,
damage over the years.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's those subtle things that you after, when I was reading my book, because when you write a book, you have to edit. And when I'm telling you, months of changing and editing, and you have to continue to read it. So
Yeah.
it's like I was being traumatized over and over every time I read a part that had to be fixed or changed or, rewritten and and then that's when I realized that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that wasn't right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were, going to a grocery store and I'm pushing the basket and we have all our stuff in the basket. And then he
Yeah.
grabs his stuff and he goes to another register. Like,
Like, why?
what?
Why?
Like, really? Like, we're doing this? Like, this is how I'm
Yeah.
not getting the doors open for me anymore. I'm like, I'm getting like, you're not my mother for Mother's
Mm.
Day. So I'm not giving you anything. Like, I'm
Okay.
like,
I'm
okay.
getting heated. I'm getting heated with what you're saying. I can only imagine, like, just, writing and editing and rereading your reality that you lived for 20 years for, ooh, that's a lot. That is a
Yes,
lot. And
yes, yes.
okay, so Tanya, we did talk about this, and again, you're very open and very vocal. And I know you want to open a nonprofit too. Isn't that on your to-do list here to open up a nonprofit?
Yes. So, actually, we just launched. This is the um 7th year of my son Trayvon Harris
Mhm.
passing. My son, he was 13 years old when he was hit by a car in a school zone and ended up passing away. He was an avid student. I mean, this kid, when I tell you that he was of course, all the kids love Steph Curry, but he was like Steph Curry, like I just and he had this mindset to where he was just going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
He didn't have
Yeah.
no second of what. He was like, "Mom, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to get my house, your house."
Yeah.
And that's what, and again, Trayvon, he was, straight A student. And not only was he academically and basketball, and he loved basketball.
Yeah.
And we named the foundation Believe, and
Right.
it's the Trayvon Harris organization.
Mhm.
And it's always like a bee would always show up around me.
Yeah.
And one day when I was at the gravesite and I said, you know, why a bee? Why, and he says,
Mhm.
bee ball, mom, for life. And I'm like, okay, like
Got
that
it.
was so like basketball and
Yeah.
or whatever. So the bees and that's how we ended up the Believe, and it's like, we love God. We have, the foundation is to help, not only other grieving families that had lost a child, because that's a pain that I know, like even Job, it is unbearable, unthinkable, and it's not a day that doesn't go by. But when God says that He would not put more on you than what you can bear,
Mhm.
and I realize and I understand now that God was saying to me, have you tried my servant? Um, have you tried my servant, Tanya?
Anya. Mhm.
Like, I felt like that was
Yeah.
what he was saying, to Satan, like, you could do whatever you want to do to her, but
Yeah.
she's not going to turn her back on me.
Yeah.
She's going to trust me no matter what.
Right.
And, and that's when I realized, and that's when I knew that I would love to have my child with me. But I understand and I realize that it was through his loss that I got out. I went into a lawsuit by myself, and that money's allowed me to leave. And that's where so many women, they stay in it because they don't have the financial means, because they isolate you. They keep you to where you don't have to work, and you thinking like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to work and I could just take care of the kids and
Babies and stay at
yeah,
home, be a
and you stay
mom.
at home. Yes. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was, I've been a cosmetologist for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that income is
Right.
it's not a
Yeah.
solid, and that's all I had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I decided um to step out on faith and
Wow.
just trust God.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's the reason. And both of my boys, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when I
Mm-hmm.
tell you both of my boys is Trayvon, the financial, for me to be able to get out
Mm-hmm.
and to care for myself
Yeah.
and our son,
Yeah.
because he wasn't giving me anything,
Mm-mm.
nothing.
Yeah.
And so when we left with the clothes on our backs. He put us out
Yep.
to where we stayed in hotels and Airbnbs until I found a place
Wow.
to have to raise our son. And our son, God bless me to, Ty is um he's autistic. And
Mm-hmm.
again, when he was um not even like 3 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I again had to go against his dad to
Yeah.
get him tested,
Yeah.
because he did
That.
not want him tested. He was saying everything was fine, and I was like, nope.
No. No.
And I stood, went and got it done by myself
Mom.
with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately got that. And I can tell you right now that it's because of my boys
Mm-hmm.
that, Ty, he just turned 16 on the
Wow.
15th. And so
Wow.
with it being 16, he's able to speak for himself. And
Wow.
that's what happens with a lot of
Wow.
women. You
Yeah.
stay in it for the kids.
Right.
You don't want to change. You don't want to change their schooling. You don't want to mess up there, because here it is. When I did leave the many times, I'm
Yeah.
staying with my parents,
Yep.
and all three of us is staying in one room,
Hmm. Yep.
where when he's with his father, and we have this beautiful big home. They got
Yeah.
their own room and all of that. So it was very hard to be able to take our kids out of that
Yeah.
stable, even
Yes.
though they didn't, and I realized that um I had to get out
Mm-hmm.
just so my son wouldn't feel like it was okay to treat a woman like this.
Right.
And that's what I want to, if any woman out there and you
Mm-hmm.
have kids,
Mm-hmm.
for your kids,
Yeah.
get at them for their future. for their lives so they can have a productive life. And
Yes.
Ty, like I said, he advocated for himself so well to where he cut it loose with them. He told
Yeah.
them he is D-O-N-E done.
I've read it. I knew it.
And from
Wow.
him
Yeah.
and like I
Yeah.
said, for many years we tried. I don't
Yeah.
care how much as a woman you try, you say what they've done. And that's another thing. Any woman out there that and you see this,
Mm-hmm.
tell someone, don't hide it.
Right.
Because when you do finally, and if something happens, they're gonna feel like, well, this is just out of the nowhere. Like,
Right.
you gotta have records, you gotta have feed. I don't
That's right.
care if you just
Yep.
tell a friend or a family member,
Yeah.
or even write it down.
Write
And
it
that's
down.
one of the things.
Yep.
That book ended up coming from me journaling.
Yeah.
Me just writing out my thoughts. And that was one of the questions, Lord, do I stay? Should I stay or should I go? You know, and this is a journey of my heart. This is, where my heart is. And so that's, like I said, my boys, we want to honor Trayvon in his memory with the Trayvon Harris organization incorporated. And we just released that this year.
Wow.
And my other son, Ty, he's thriving, doing well. He's a straight A student.
Come on.
And just really doing shot put and just really thriving. And he said something really deep that I want to say, that kids, they know.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
When you think that your kids are not, that you're trying to hide it, and the kids know.
They know.
They feel it. And they know, and the reality, and I know that he says, Mom, now Trayvon knows too. That who really was. And I'm like, yes, he does. And I'm just grateful that I just believe that, like I said, that God is going to do great things with this organization. We'll be able to bless other, and we want kids to know, and even, mothers and, that has lost a child, that there's a purpose. There's a purpose. Seeking that purpose is one of the many blessings that God have shown me, that through my pain, God is, as they says, that is to prosper me and is to give me a future and a hope.
That's right.
And that's where I'm like grateful to God, because I'm at a point to where I'm living my best life.
Come on, let's talk
I'm living
about
my
that.
best life right now.
And you can see it. You just radiate joy and light and faith, and that doesn't lie. You can't hide that. And I think that looking at everything you've gone through, to see the smile, the true joy radiating from inside your soul, it's so just contagious and like electric. And I think for the women, that you talked about something that's so big, we try and stay for a couple reasons. We don't want, it's better for the kids. I think we are seeing a new wave, I guess you could say, of women that are saying, no, I'm actually leaving for mine. I'm leaving for my children. And I think that's the first time in history that we're really seeing that at a mass level across women, because I think it is awesome that they, oftentimes now with the economy and where it's at, both parents are working for a lot of families. And so, but a lot of women get stuck because they can't. So let me ask you, Tanya, what would you tell the woman who is stuck and she can't leave financially? what would you tell her to do? She wants to leave, but she can't.
I would say more than anything is be careful
Mm-hmm.
and plan.
Mm-hmm.
When you have made
Yeah.
up in your mind
Yeah.
that I'm leaving, now is time to strategize.
Right.
Now is time to figure out
Mm-hmm.
how, if you're not working, find out how to get into work.
Yeah.
Um, you also look into the finances. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you're in a marriage, the husband does all of the financing, the banking. I didn't even know what he was getting from his VA, what he was getting from
Yep.
Social Security, what he was getting from, like, I didn't know this. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
when it came to, getting that divorce or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was totally in shock because I'm thinking that, we don't have anything. I
Wow.
was, I'm thinking that
Mm-hmm.
we're both on fixed income and I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling him it's like we can do this without these lawyers.
Right.
But no, he wanted to go through and I'm like, okay. And then I now realize and I seen that he had way more money than me and I was in
Mm-hmm.
shock. And
Wow.
so a lot of women, I would say, get behind those finances.
Yeah.
Find out what the monies is going and don't just be naive to the
Right.
fact that they're just handling it.
Yeah.
Do your research. We hear it so many times that women, when they do decide that they want to leave,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing they want to do is blurt it out and tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell that woman, do not tell your abuser.
Yep.
Keep it to
100%.
yourself until you're able to safely get out of that
Exactly.
situation.
Yes, ma'am. That is such
Yes.
wise advice, Tanya, and I'm so grateful you shared that because I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot we just covered because I mean, we're
Yes.
talking to abusive relationships, but marriages, like we're talking, we built a life with these people, okay? It's like we've
Yes.
just been dating and we're like, oh, we're talking,
Right.
no, I have given you children. I provide as well. I want to know what's going on. And I think that
Yes.
is a very wise question to ask. And why shouldn't you have access if you're building a life together and it's just for knowledge? It's not like you're going to do anything with it. Just for
Yes.
the knowledge. And I remember as well when I was getting ready to leave. I was in that planning stage and I
Mhm.
remember thinking, okay, if I'm really going to do this, I got to be smart. And I didn't get advice. There were some people that knew about the abuse, which I think you said was such huge, important advice. Just tell someone because if it ever does go the legal route, you do have to be prepared. And your
Yes.
testimony alone, if you do not have admissible evidence to the court, it's
Yes.
hearsay, and the judge cannot award custody. They don't care about how you feel. They need
Yes.
admissible, tangible, time-stamped evidence for the abuse. And so
Yes.
documenting things is so important. And I remember the last few months, I had filed for divorce in May of 2024, and we
Okay.
were renting an apartment together. It was in West LA. It was right by the beach. It was just so fun and amazing when he wasn't home.
Okay.
But,
Right.
when he got home, it was not so fun. But, I take the kids out and stuff, but we were renting
Yeah.
and our lease wasn't up until November. But I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Mm.
So I filed and we had talked about it, and
Mhm.
so I told him I was going
Mhm.
to do it. And so we had from May to November to still live under the same roof. It was
Mhm.
rough. It was so rough. And
Mm.
I just tried to be as quiet and as compliant as possible. When the abuse was going on, I wouldn't fight back. I just took it. because I had to move strategically. So even though I'm about to take this blow right now, and my son's right there watching, I had to be very strategic in every move. I really think that DV survivors would be the best, like, FBI detective agents. We are so hyper vigilant, and our brains work different. It's a trauma response, but it's actually a wonderful skill set.
Yes, I would agree.
That's it. But anyways, just get to know what's going on. And I had a bag packed, like you said, you and your son, you had the clothes on your back, and so many women are often just put out, or a fight gets so bad and they're not prepared. And I specifically had a secret duffel bag hidden, and I put in that, I had all of the kids. I had our social security cards. I had birth certificates. I kept their medical records. I kept our marriage certificate, because I just knew if I had to get out, the whole house could burn, but I needed that envelope with all of our important documentation. And I would tell the women that too. Just start studying. Don't, like you said, be naive, be prepared, start moving strategically for your safety and the safety of your children.
Yes.
That's so smart. So smart. And how old was you had Ty? So how old was he when you guys were put out and you just had to figure it out?
He this happened in 2022.
Wow.
And crazy part is we had just recently joined back with him. We had been living with my parents up until after Trayvon passed away in 2019. My parents decided to, because he ended up passing on the street that we lived on. So my parents ended up selling that home. And because it was very hard for us to continue to keep living on that street after that. And so when that happened, we decided, okay, let me go back and live with him. And so here it is. I'm going into a home that is not mine. I didn't have any, again, I'm just bringing my things from my parents, and now I'm moving into his place, because sure enough, it's never your place.
No.
Even though you're married, that's his home. And that you've come back and you live with him. So I couldn't do certain things. I couldn't, and so for that, I ended up and so Ty, he was only 12 at the time. I mean, not, is it? Yeah, 12, because he's 16 now.
Yeah.
And he was just 12 years old. And I remember even having to, like, get a new cord for his computer for school, because we had left it. Like, I had to get everything, new clothes, to go to school. And I just remember staying in hotels and Airbnbs, and just having to where to try to have some normalcy for him.
Right.
And I just couldn't even imagine, but I also feel that he had plans too. I believe that because we were awarded that year, Trayvon, the monies from Trayvon.
Yeah.
And I really truly believe that the only reason why he wanted me to be back and to be with him is so he could get half of that money. Because the day that he kicked us out, he said, just give me half. I said, give you half? Give you half of what?
Right.
He was like, just give me half of the money, and then we'll just end this marriage. And that's when I realized That's why you wanted me back.
Wow.
That I had monies in his
Wow.
safe that I didn't even have
Oh,
the combination.
yeah.
The monies was in
Mhm.
his safe, in his possession.
Mhm.
I literally had put him on my wealth management. I couldn't,
Wow.
but I'm like,
Wow.
and the
And it was
only,
made so clear the moment that
only,
statement flew out of his mouth.
that was it.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, and that's when I knew
Yeah.
that this man did not love me, that
Right.
this man was only for this money.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like Judas. And you
Mm.
know when he
Mhm.
gave that money for
Mhm.
Jesus and
Mhm.
tell him where,
Yeah.
no good thing is going to come of him
Mhm.
for what he did.
Right.
That's blood money. And you're using our child's
Wow.
money that he left our family, our
Wow.
son.
Wow.
We don't know Ty's future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that Ty is set. Like, I know that
Right.
Trayvon would have wanted to make sure, if nothing else, that
Mhm.
Ty is
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's all that I
Wow.
was concerned of. And when, again, going back to, when it's over.
Yeah.
You know in your heart, and God does not want any of his children to live in pain.
Mhm.
He does not. And so for that woman that is feeling as if God is going to somehow
Mhm.
not bless you or not, he absolutely will protect you and
Yeah.
guide you, and to be able to get out and to
Yeah.
get out safely
Yes.
and to have
Mhm.
what God has for us. We
Yeah.
have to believe that if you're going to trust God, you got to trust him all the way.
All of your heart. There's no
Yes.
halfway blessings. It's all or
Right.
nothing. It
Yes.
really is. And that's such great advice, Tanya. Truly it is, because this is scary stuff we're talking about, and like you
Yes.
mentioned, for our children, and just the manipulation and the selfish. I think that's the hardest part, is the selfish ambition behind the abuser.
Yes.
That was one of the hardest parts. I'm like, I was like, forget me. At what point I was like, forget me.
Yes.
Your children, look at these precious little faces,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's, and I think that God will really bless your faith. And he, like you said, he always provides. But unless we step out on that faith and take
Yes.
that journey with him, we won't ever know what blessings are on the other side. We just won't
Yes.
know, because we
Yes.
chose to stay small and do what's right according to other people. But you know what? Other people don't go home and have to deal with what I deal with every night. Sorry, you're not
Yes.
married to him. I am. So I'm going to
Yes.
go ahead and do what I know is right. And it's hard for women to find their voice to make those
Yes.
decisions, because I think abusers, they silence the victims for so long. We don't even know how to
Yes.
think for ourselves anymore. So I think,
Yes.
like you said, we're I think, don't get me started on like societal expectations. That's a whole other
Okay.
episode, but we lose our voices. And I think it's so important for women to channel your energy and your faith
Yeah.
and see what you've done. So how many years now? Like, this is all more recent than I actually thought it was. I mean, you just said in 2022. So how long have you been out and divorced now?
So, believe it or not, I'm still going through it.
Woo! That's okay. That's okay, baby.
When I tell you, I mean, one of the things, and this is key,
Hmm.
that it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
Okay, so
Mm-mm.
to those that think that, okay, you filed for divorce and you get out and that, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like,
That's right.
it is a years long process. It is not overnight. It is not something that is done and especially if you have kids, it becomes even more entangled when you have children.
Right.
I also noticed young children.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that my son is old enough, but for those that have children that are very small and very young and they can't speak up for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to hold on, but it's going to be a long journey. And especially one that is a narcissist. And that's one of the things that I really want to, one of the things that happened with me and that I tell anyone that is going through a divorce, stay calm. Do not react. Because the minute I reacted and I went off in the court, it became now we are dealing with a high conflict divorce.
Yep.
And so now you're labeled as this crazy, off hinge, and every chance they got, I was the one that was keeping him away from his son. I was the one that was doing this. I was the one. So, and the court, like you were saying earlier, you have to have documentation. You have to write down every single, I don't care if you think that he picked up a rock, have that date in which he picked it up and the time and what he said when he had the rock in his hand.
All of it.
Like, you have to have all of, because these courts, they look at what is in the best interest of the child. They do not look at the history. They don't know it. They're just looking at what's in front of them. And if you lose it, that lets them win.
Yeah.
So keep your peace. And if you're one of those ones that's like me, you just let your attorney talk for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Just put that hand underneath the table,
Bite that tongue.
just let your attorney do all the talking. And that's one of the things, like with my attorney, like I was able to have an attorney that I could do that crying and all that emotional and everything. And I really truly believe that my attorney is like, he has to be autistic, because I would be crying and everything, and he would be like, okay, Tanya, well, what do you want to do? Like, he was just that simple. Like, I was like,
thanks for letting me get that out. Yeah. Great listening.
But he was very factual. He was very, straight to the point. And all of that fluff that I was doing, and he did this and the courts don't want to hear that.
Cut straight through it. No, they don't care.
So I would tell any woman, please, 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 please keep your peace.
That's right.
Don't show them your hand. Don't show them no emotions. Don't cry. The courts they don't care.
Yeah.
They really don't care. And these attorneys don't either. Don't get me wrong. Like, you thinking that your attorney is for you? No, they're in it for the money, because that's their job.
That's their job. That's
so
right.
Don't think that attorney is your best friend
or your therapist,
because it is not. And and that's another thing. I'm still in therapy.
Yeah.
And I need that. You know, and again, getting help does not show your weakness. It shows that you're human.
Right.
And it
Absolutely.
helps to be able to deal when you're dealing with an abusive, to be able to have that calmness and to be able to stand on what you believe in.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't push that more
Yeah.
to keep your peace.
That's right.
Don't allow them to push those buttons that they have done for so
For
many
so many
years.
years. It's like just because you let them win. The moment we lose control, we lose self-control because the emotions are so intense. We lose against
Yes.
ourselves, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that I personally battled with was a long time, not in the divorce process, but just as a person, because I truly didn't grow up learning the skill of emotional self-control. I just didn't. I
Yes.
didn't grow up with a lot of in a two-parent stable structured home. I just kind of did what I wanted, and I'm very like, woo, and that's fun. That's great. That's just my
Yes.
personality. But when these intense life things happen, we got to keep it together. And then I learned how to be I've shifted more now to being more analytical and more by the book and just give me the facts. And I think I had to because it was survival mode. I was like, that's how I get
Yes.
out of this thing. And, I really appreciate you sharing that because I think for women, there's a lot of resources out there for you to
Yes.
get the help that you need. Go to a DV shelter. Just call a DV shelter. I encourage women to do that all the time. And when I
Yes.
first heard those words, I like trembled. I was like, shelter? Like what? But I didn't realize that it's just a 501c3. And if you need
Yes.
the help and if you need the shelter for you and your children, they'll even board your dog. I was like, you'll do
Yes.
what? And
Yes.
I was on the verge of, do I go stay at my mom's with these 3 kids? Because all this
Yes.
happened unexpectedly overnight. Or do I go to stay in LA and go to a DV shelter? And I was like, I wrestled because I did not want to go to my mom's. I was like,
Yes.
oh Lord, no, please. And she's
Yes.
amazing. But I just didn't
Yes.
want to do that. You're cramped. It's not your space. And it's a
Yes.
huge transition. But anyways, call a local DV shelter. There are resources. There are therapists. They have DV advocates that will actually attend court with you just for support. They're not a lawyer, but just for
Yes.
support. And I think that we do need to get those emotions out. And I think that I wanted to ask you this, Tanya, because we're both very creative people. And I
Yes.
think a lot of women have these amazing God-given talents, but they don't know how to use them because they're in so much pain. So
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what would you tell the woman who has these dreams? Maybe it's to be an author, maybe it's to open up her own clothing line, or I don't know, whatever it is. If this woman has a dream, what would you tell her on channeling her God-given talents, even if it's still ugly in her life right now?
First and foremost is to pray and seek God.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get to a point to where you have to build a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
your creator.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say this is that he knows the ins and out. He knows what you can do and he will allow you to see the gifts that you have. And
Yeah.
he says that he will make your gifts make room for you. And
Yeah.
so when you seek God first and you ask him those questions, he says that he will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
So anyone that is
Yeah.
wanting to know, what is it, Lord, what do you have for me?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just those simple questions of, Lord, what do you want?
Yeah.
How can I serve you? Because
Mm-hmm.
one of the things when I started serving God and when I
Mm-hmm.
started reading my Bible more and more each day, and
Yeah.
I got to be to where he was speaking to me so much to where I went from writing to
Mm-hmm.
typing because I could type really fast. I love
Yeah.
typing. And so from there,
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, you just like giving me, and that's what happened. It was,
Yeah.
and that's when you know that that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Mhm.
I am a woman that I didn't go to college. I don't have a 4-year degree. I don't have where I remember in school where I, you know, C, B student, even sometimes D's. And so, and one of the things, it was like English. So for me to think that I could write a book and published and then to win and it's an impactful, like it won
Yes.
an award, like what?
What?
Like me? Like
Yes.
no way.
Right.
But but I know that God told me that I was going to write a book, and I didn't know what I was going to write about. But
Wow.
through my pain, like he thought it says, when the Bible also says that he was make your enemy your footstool.
Come on.
And then he also says that he's gonna those things that the devil meant for evil, God's gonna turn it around for your good.
Right.
Like that pain that he put me through allowed me to birth this book that can be impactful and touch so many other people's lives. That women call me and there's other women that I had no idea and no clue. And they say, Tanya, I went through that. And it's like, whoa, blowing my mind. Even my own mother. I went to find that through her first marriage, she was abused, where she had to leave, when she had to get out and run out. Those are the type of things that you never know until you go out. Step out on faith. I tell that woman, whatever your heart desire, God is going to give it to you, and he's going to bless you and put you in people's lives. It is a blessing for me to come across you and to have this conversation with you. I mean, this has gone beyond just a podcast. This is a bond, a relationship that God has brought together in this moment to be able to help so many other women that through our pain, God has allowed us and blessed us to be able to show other women that if we can do it,
That's right.
you can do it.
That's right. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I want to laugh. I want to cry because I feel the same way. And every conversation I have, it's like a sisterhood. It really is. I say this every time. This is not just a podcast. This is a, like you said, a bond, a sisterhood. And to bring awareness to the women out there, that's the beauty of opening up with your story and on the internet. And you can learn so many beautiful skills because of it. And this is where I feel like God really will start to multiply the talents that you put to work. We got to ask him, what do you want from me for you? And then I think too, we got to sit and analyze, what are we actually naturally good at? I believe that whatever we're naturally good at, whatever we naturally desire, that is in correlation with the talents God has given you. And then whatever we put to work, even if it's one little talent like we feel is not even cool or special or great, just put it to work. Put it to work, and God will multiply and give back tenfold, like you said with Job. He'll give back tenfold. And our healing is purposeful. Someone told me this one time, no sin should ever be wasted. Not our own and not even the others of other people. Just no tears should be wasted, and let's put it to work,
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so Tanya, where can people find your book? Where I think I have all of the links, but just to make sure we have all of our bases covered, where can they find your book? Should I stay or should I go?
Okay, so it is everywhere where books are sold. We are at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Big Books A Million. It is on Audible. So you can listen to it. You don't even have to you can just sit there, and I would encourage even with a Kindle. So the
Awesome.
Kindle, because it is music integrated, I have different types of genre music. So it has gospel, it has country, it has hip hop, it has like it has jazz, it has all of these because one of the things
Wow.
that with music, and I really truly believe, is universal.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
and that's also like if you look at the title, the front cover of my book,
Uh-huh.
it's a man and a woman. Because I also believe that there is some men out there that have abused as well.
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
wanted to make sure that this book is not just for the woman. This is
Yeah.
for that, even for that man to be able to heal and possibly help your marriage.
Right.
Help get,
Yeah.
you know, some of these men, they're so prideful that they don't want to go to counseling. They don't want to get help.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that if a couple reads my book
Mm-hmm.
and they read it and listen to the music
Yeah.
and listen and read the scriptures,
Yeah.
and get that insight of that guidance of what God, has for their relationship,
Yeah.
and you decide for yourself,
Right.
should you stay or should you go?
Wow.
And that's what
Oh, I
so
cannot wait because I
yeah.
love that because it's not just like we talked about in the beginning, it's not just a memoir. This is truly a healing journey that
Yes.
anyone can go on and feel like they're walking right next to you while you've already gone through it, but
Yes.
it's a healing journey. It's interactive. And that is so, I think, inviting for everybody who needs healing because men do
Yes.
too. And I wish I
Yes.
want nothing more. I think now more than ever, men need healing. I believe that
Yes.
Satan is after them. And even
Yes.
if you just look at the statistics right now, birth rates are lower than they've ever been.
Mhm.
Women are taking up more space in the workforce than they ever have. And
Yes.
also more women are single than they ever have. But I do
Yes.
believe as empowering as that is, I'm like, yeah, go women. Also, the other side of that is look at what's happening spiritually. I think Satan is really attacking families, men,
Yes. Yes.
and that was really God's design, I believe, for us to glorify him as a family. And so
Yes.
now we're seeing that happen less and less. And I think that men need healing just as much as women. We're human. We all need
Yes.
help. So I love that. So on the Audible version, do you narrate it or is there a voice that narrates it?
It is a voice.
Awesome. Okay.
Again, it's one of those things that I could have done the voice on it, but
Yeah.
again, having to go through that again
Yeah.
and to it's one of those things that when you've come out,
Yeah.
you don't want to go back.
Ah,
You don't
right.
want to go back down that road. God
Yeah.
has healed you from it. God
Mm-hmm.
has delivered you from it. And
Yeah.
so you don't wish to go back. And
Mm-mm.
so for that, I had someone and that experience, like I said, my book, I ended up having it published through Christian Faith Publishing. And it was one of those things to where this is interesting for those that want to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say, do it. Don't wait another day.
Come
Write
on.
that book.
Yeah.
And I'm telling
Yes.
you right now, write that book. Do not waste another day. Start writing it down. Just start with just writing down your thoughts. Just
Mm-hmm.
go with the flow and how you feeling and just write it. They can do all of that editing, but one of the
Yeah.
things that after I wrote it and I went on Google and I said, what is the best publishing company?
Mm-hmm.
And Google had this a few, and I seen at the very middle it was Christian Faith Publishing, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, and I called.
Uh-huh.
I called. I told them about my book. They said, how do you have it? I said, I have it on Word. 5 days. And they came back and they said they're going to publish my book.
Oh my goodness.
I was, they said that, it takes a
Wow.
while. You send off to these different, and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But no, it was like 5 days. So I don't even know that experience of having to send it to different. There was this one book, and I know I'm going to get there. It was Successful Habits of a Millionaire by Dean Graziosi. And I was reading his book, and that's what he was saying, how he had went to all of these different publishing and no one was really wanting to buy, to get his book. So that's what I was thinking, that mine was going to be, challenging, but no, it was like, so I don't know all the ins and out and trying to get somebody to publish you. But because, like I said, I submitted it, my first one, and they ended up getting it. And then I ended up getting this package. And when I say that when you get confirmation, it says that I said I wanted the best publishing company, right? Well, they wasn't like 5 stars or whatever, but when they transferred me over and they let me to do my audio, they're 5 stars.
Oh my goodness. See?
So it was like, okay, that's the part that you was saying that was the 5 stars, And so I'm at this point right now to where I'm just believing God, that I'm going to get this Author of the Year award, and I'm going to continue to push. And so I need y'all to go out there and buy that book, because I need to be on the New York Times best-selling. Like,
come on,
that's
baby.
where
We're doing it.
that's where I'm headed. And so
Come on.
if you can find it anywhere, Journey of the Heart, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Available on all major book forms.
I cannot wait. I am so excited for you. See, Tanya, we heal, we hustle, and we repeat. And God blesses every phase of that. And I am so excited for you. You got my vote. I will make sure that I continue spreading the word for you. I am behind you, cheering for you on the sidelines. And I'm so grateful for just you being who you are. Not everything not just what you do. I'm grateful for who you are. And to meet a woman like you is special. And I'm just so grateful that I know you, and we're bonded for life. You can't get rid of me now. So, so you're stuck with me. So thank you so much, Tanya. And it's just been an honor.
Thank you so much. It's a blessing.
Thank you. All right. Until next time.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.